to the Thought Snob Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. So today I'm going to talk about astrology. I enrolled at the Midwest School of Astrology. It's in Cincinnati, Ohio, about 3 weeks ago. And let me tell you, I'm fascinated. I've been fascinated by astrology since I was a child, and I knew astrology was interesting before, but I didn't realize just how much there is to it, really. And I want to share a few things I've learned so far. All right, now, but I want to be clear. I'm so incredibly new at this. So if you're listening or watching and you're already an expert in astrology, you're probably not going to get a whole lot from me today. But if you know nothing and like you're the kind of person who is only, checks your daily horoscope and wondered, maybe if there's more to it, you're going to walk away mesmerized and you'll start to understand more about the people around you, why they do the things they do, and maybe even see yourself in a whole new way. So I'm going to break this down into little digestible pieces because I'm going to assume that if you're listening to me right now, then you are very green with astrology, okay? So astrology versus astronomy, all right? A lot of people get this confused. Now, one of the first things my professor said, and my professor is Pam Gallagher, by the way, and she has been an astrologist for 56 years, so the woman knows her shit. So one of the first things she said was this. She said, astrology is the original science. I thought, huh. And if you research the history of astrology, you'll see that it goes back to at least 2000 BCE. In ancient times, there wasn't a separation between like astronomy and astrology. They were one and the same. And then only later did science, split them apart. It's kind of the best way I know how to explain it. So here's the difference. Astronomy is the physical characteristics of the universe, the stars, the planets, the galaxies. Astrology is about energy and behavior patterns of the universe. So basically, I'm studying the universe, and that's a big deal. And it's, again, very fascinating. All right, there are types of astrology. At the Midwest School of Astrology, we study tropical astrology, which is also Western astrology, and there are other types like Vedic astrology, and I studied a little bit of that when I was at the Chopra Center. But tropical is the one most people in the West are familiar with, okay? And here's how it was explained to me. Astrology it's a law that works. Planets are moving, the zodiac signs are fixed, and the patterns created are like an energetic map. So it's like people will say, well, is astrology real? Well, yes, it's very real. It's like, do you believe in gravity? I mean, we all know gravity is very real, okay? So the patterns created are like an energetic map. So the real question is, what are you doing with it? Like, how are you using that energy? And those questions are important because we have free will. God gave us free will, and free will overrides astrology. You can either work with the energy or you can ignore it. It can help you or it can hurt you. But either way, the law is still operating all the time, okay? I'm going to start with the basics. There are 12 zodiac signs, and I'm going to go in order, okay, all around the wheel, all right? So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Then you've got Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Each sign is ruled by a planet, and planets are energy, and they're always moving through the signs, all right? So the signs are fixed, the planets are moving, all right? There are 12 houses, and I'll explain what those are in a minute. But the houses are man-made, and they represent 12 areas of your life, okay? Things like money, relationships, career, spirituality, all different areas. All right, the signs also fall into the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. And then there are 3 modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal signs, I'm a cardinal sign, I'm a Capricorn. Cardinal signs are the initiators. Fixed signs are the stabilizers. Mutable signs are the adapters. And when you put all of that together, that's where the magic starts to happen. There are strong roots in Greek mythology here. The word zodiac comes from a Greek word that means circle of animals. The zodiac's roots are in Greek mythology. Like the animals and figures that represent the signs were placed among the stars, usually for great acts of heroism. So when you look at that zodiac wheel, you're not just looking at random animals or symbols. You're looking at a mythological story written in the sky. So I'm going to walk you through these. Aries is the ram. Aries is ruled by Mars. Aries is cardinal fire. The dates for Aries, the birth dates, are March 21st through April the 19th. I've got a little cheat sheet here so I don't give you any wrong information, all right? Taurus, second sign of the zodiac, is the bull, all right, ruled by Venus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. The birth dates are April 21st through May the 21st. Gemini, that's the twins, ruled by Mercury. Gemini is a mutable air sign. The birth dates are May 21st through June 21st. Then you have Cancer. My husband Will is a Cancer. Cancer is the crab. Cancer is ruled by the moon. It is a cardinal water sign. The birth dates are June 21st through July 21st. Then we have Leo. Leo is the lion. Leo is ruled by the sun. It's a fire sign. It's fixed. The birth dates are July 21st through August 21st. Then we've got Virgo, the Virgin. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. It's an mutable earth sign. Birth dates are August 21st through September 21st. Libra. Libra is the scales, ruled by Venus. Libra is the only sign in the zodiac that isn't represented by an animal. It's the scales. It's about balance, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. So Libra is a cardinal air sign. The birth dates are September 21st through October 21st. Then we got Scorpio. Scorpio, the scorpion, is ruled by Pluto. And Scorpio is unique. It's the only sign in the zodiac that has 3 icons, okay? It has the scorpion, the eagle, and the phoenix. And Scorpio is a fixed water sign, and the birth dates are October 21st through November 21st. Traditionally, it was ruled by Mars. Now, Pluto wasn't discovered until like 1930. And so at some point, like I said, I'm new to this. I'm not really sure the exact date, but Pluto started ruling Scorpio. So there are more characteristics of Pluto there than Mars at this point, okay? So now we've got Sagittarius, and Sagittarius, I love Sagittarius people. That's the archer. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. That is a mutable fire sign. Birth dates are November 21st through December 21st. Okay, then we've got Capricorn. That's me, the goat. We're ruled by Saturn. And Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign. And the birth dates for Capricorn is December 21st through January 20th. Then we have Aquarius. That's the 11th sign in the zodiac. And Aquarius is the water bearer, and it is ruled by Uranus. It's a fixed air sign, and the birth dates are January 20th through February the 19th. The last sign of the zodiac, the 12th sign, is Pisces. That's the two fishes. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Pisces is a mutable water sign, and the birth dates for Pisces, February 19th through March the 20th. All right. So each sign has its own symbol and its own ruler. And when you start learning how all these pieces fit together, you realize it's not just surface level personality stuff. It's way deeper. You can absolutely use astrology to read people. It goes far beyond compatibility, far beyond. Now, this is where astrology really gets spiritual. Our soul is here to grow. That's the whole point. And astrology gives us the map. Like the moon represents your past, it's memory, it's the emotional patterns you're already familiar with. The sun, who you're supposed to, the sun represents who you're supposed to aspire to be in this lifetime. All right. Those are the traits you're meant to grow into wherever the sun is. All right. On your chart, it's called a natal chart. That's what you're supposed to aspire to be. And that'll make sense to you in a minute. So think of your natal chart as your soul's to-do list. To run a chart, here's what you need: your name, your birth date, the city and state where you were born, and your exact time of birth. And if you can't get your exact time, you can still run a chart for noon. Okay? It's probably going to be pretty close. All right? And there's so many websites out there that you can use to run your natal chart. You just got to figure out how to read the damn thing, okay? Now, the east point on your chart is called the ascendant or rising sun. That's the point on the horizon where your soul entered that zodiac wheel. So whatever sign was there when you were born becomes your rising sign. That's why you'll hear people say, I'm an Aries rising or I'm a Libra rising. It's your ascendant. Okay, I'll give you an example. I was born December 25th, 1976 in Lexington, Kentucky at 1:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That makes me a Capricorn sun, Pisces moon, and Taurus rising. Okay? What does that mean? Well, since my sun was in Capricorn sun, that's what I should aspire to be. Those are the traits I need to grow into as I live my life. And I can honestly say, when I look back, I have done that. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, very grounded, strategic, disciplined, ambitious to the point of no fucking return. And those are qualities I've developed over time. However, being me feels like a tug of war because the moon is emotional and Pisces is highly sensitive. Pisces is the dreamer and the Capricorn is the doer. Then I have a Taurus rising. Well, Tauruses tend to get stuck. Taurus is a fixed sign, so it doesn't like change. Before I evolved and moved into, the higher end here, aka my Capricorn sun, I was notorious for repeating old patterns. I was stuck for 20 years. But that Pisces moon, the dreaming, the visualizing, the feeling gave me enormous power to consciously create a new life. And then those Capricorn traits, they shine. That goat stood up and said, I'm getting to the top of that mountain no matter fucking what. Okay? So, with me, I don't want to lose those traits from my Pisces moon. I mean, that's what gives me my, my non-local awareness abilities. That's what gives me my intuitive abilities. I don't want to lose that. I don't ever want to lose that. But I got to keep it in balance. And learning about myself through astrology has helped me do that. I also don't want to get too stuck in Taurus. I don't want to get stuck. I mean, at all, okay? So that's why astrology is so powerful. It's not just about this sign likes coffee and this sign likes tea. This is spiritual astrology. It's about why you're here. What's the goal of your lifetime? What is your soul trying to tell you? So I'm going to go through the 12 houses and just quickly run through an overview of characteristics, of each zodiac sign and the planets that rule those signs. So if you know a person well enough to run their natal chart, this information right here is worth its weight in platinum. So I'm going to start with an overview of the houses. Your first house is your house of self. Okay, that represents your personality, your physical body, and your approach to life. Some keywords for the first house are identity, appearance, how others perceive you. Second house is the house of value. These are, this is money, possessions, self-worth. It rules income, financial security, material possessions, and how you value yourself and your resources. And then the third house is the house of communication. Thinking, speaking, siblings are in there, short travel, it governs learning, local environment, technology, and just, your everyday interactions. And the fourth house is the house of home and family. And keywords for the fourth house are roots, heritage, and private life. It represents your home, your family, your ancestry, emotional foundation, and your inner world. It's often connected with the mother or nurturing figure. So the fifth house, the house of pleasure. Some keywords are creativity, romance, children, fun. It covers love affairs, artistic expression, hobbies, play, and all forms of joy and creative self-expression. Then the sixth house, that's the house of health and service. Keywords are work, routines, wellness, responsibility. It deals with daily habits, health, service to pets, or sorry, service to others, pets, and the way that you manage responsibilities. Seventh house, that's your house of partnerships, marriage, relationships, contracts, one-on-one partnerships, both personal and professional. And it's also the house of open enemies. The eighth house, that's your house of transformation. Keywords are sex, death, rebirth, shared resources. It represents deep transformation, intimacy, shared money like inheritances, taxes, debts, psychology, and occult matters. The ninth house is the house of philosophy. Keywords higher learning, travel, beliefs. It governs long distance travel, higher education, spirituality, religion, philosophy, law, and the pursuit of meaning. 10th house is the house of career. Keywords are reputation, achievement, public life. This one rules career, of course, your life purpose, social standing, and recognition and authority. And it's often linked, the 10th house is often linked to the father or authority figures, okay? 11th house is the house of community. That's friendship groups, future goals, social networks, organizations, also houses hopes, dreams, and collective efforts toward progress. And then the last house is the 12th house, and this is the house of the unseen. Keywords are spirituality, solitude, and hidden things, and it represents the subconscious. Secrets, self-undoing, confinement, and karmic patterns. And it's also linked with divine connection. Now, the houses work like stages where planets act out their roles, okay? The signs describe the style of expression, and the planets show how the energy or players are involved. All right? Okay, next, I'm going to go through some keywords here as I run through and give you some characteristics of each sign. And you can think about people that you may know that have these zodiac signs as I talk. And I hope that you can dig a little deeper after you listen to all of this, because you absolutely can make predictions about behavior, get insight to behavior, all sorts of things. Like I said earlier, it goes way deeper than just compatibility. So I'll start with the first sign of the zodiac, and that's Aries. Again, ruled by Mars, cardinal fire sign, okay? Now let's look at some keywords for Mars, okay? Physical activity, assertiveness, initiative. Okay, cardinal signs take initiative, okay? Dynamic energy, passion, bravery, desires, passionate love, sex, projection, conflict, fight, anger, temper, aggression, impatience, strength, pioneering, the need for speed, impulsive, boundary setting, competition, fire, firefighters, explosions, violence, machinery, metal, noise, athletes, armed forces, soldier, police, males, brother, operations, male sex organs, wounds, accidents, cuts, fevers, inflammation, blood, muscles, head, and face. Okay? So Aries, they're bold, energetic. If you know an Aries, they're very direct, honest. They say what they mean. Now, on the lower end, when they get out of balance, some of those keywords I just said were, had a negative. So Aries, all signs can get out of balance. And if an Aries gets out of balance, they can be hot-headed. They can get really wrapped up in themselves and often neglect the needs of others. And they tend to start things and then not finish them. Okay? So let's move on to Taurus. And okay, I have a lot of Taurus in my chart, and I've already talked about Tauruses a little bit. Taurus is the bull. Okay? Well, bulls are kind of stubborn, but think about how they act when they're ready to move. They charge. You better get the hell out of their way. That's a Taurus, okay? So Taurus is ruled by Venus. And Taurus, I'll say, let's tell you again, is a fixed earth sign. Tauruses don't like change. It's fixed, all right? So if you know a Taurus, they can get very stuck. The Taurus can get very stuck, and they can be very hard-headed. So some keywords for Taurus are, cold and hot, restrictive. They analyze things. Concrete is a word for Taurus. They work. They're workers. And success can absolutely be in their path. But getting stuck can be a problem for Taurus, not wanting to break out of an old pattern, okay? So Venus, Taurus is ruled by Venus. And some keywords for Venus are love, affection. Venus is beauty. It's aesthetics. It rules, art. If you know a Taurus, they might be likely to collect art. Venus is about harmony and cooperation and partnerships, partners, pleasure, sensuality, refinement, taste. money, cash, wealth. That's where the success can come in for a Taurus. Powers of attraction, grace, coordination, social values, balance. Seeing both sides. Um, I have a close friend that's a Taurus, and I don't think that she would care for me talking about her, but I'm going to ask her first. She absolutely sees both sides of a situation. Um, but man, does she get stuck. She does not like change. And because of that, she has been in a job that has just about killed her. Um, but now she's ready to move. And so, thing and she's charging at it, right? That's how the Taurus behaves. Then you've got indecision, okay? Got some people pleasing in there. Then you got laziness, some selfishness with Venus. You got women's apparel, cosmetics, flowers, gardens, fun and happiness, decorating, leisure, amusements, candy, sugar, because Venus is sweet. You got gifts, marriage, alimony, music, plays, females. Venus is feminine. So, your wife, your sister. Um, Diplomats, this is the female sex organs, your kidneys, throat, okay? All of those are keywords for Venus. And now maybe you're seeing kind of how those are applicable to Taurus because Venus rules Taurus. Remember, the planets rule the signs, okay? So the next one is Gemini. Whew! Gemini, ruled by Mercury, mutable air sign. Um, Gemini, they, so they're the twins, right? And so a lot of people are like, well, Geminis are two-faced. That's not necessarily the case. So Gemini, um, they have to have change. They absolutely have to have change. They're a mutable air sign. Okay, what does air do? Does air ever sit still? Hell no. It's moving, it's flowing all the time. Geminis are genius multitaskers, man. Like they can do five things at once and they can do it well, okay? So Gemini, some keywords for Gemini. So mental processing, thinkers, communication, um, they can be great writers, they can be great friends. Changeable, they want to change. That can also bring some indecisiveness. They're very social, very, very chatty, but they can be different. They can be different from one day to the next. So, Gemini ruled by Mercury. All right. Mercury, communication, talking, writing, thinking, reasoning, some concrete thought, information, facts, data, education, knowledge. On the other side of that, ignorance. You got expression, charisma, eloquence, curiosity, perception, movement, restlessness, duality, variance, learning style, gathering info through the five senses, negotiation, debate, short trips, okay? Transportation, driving, walking, languages, small animals, siblings, especially sisters. Then you've got under Mercury uncles, cousins, young people, physicians, secretaries, communications, professions in communications. And then Mercury rules the hands and the arms, the respiratory system, the vocal cords. Okay, Geminis are good communicators, so they communicate a lot, and the nervous system. Okay. All right. So, moving on to Cancer. Like I said earlier, my husband is a Cancer. And so I know quite a bit about Cancers. So a lot of people will say, Cancers are emotional. Well, you know what? That's very true because Cancer is the crab and they are ruled by the moon. Moon is all about emotions, feelings, moods, memory. Okay. Um, Cancer, just to give you a reminder, is a cardinal water sign. Okay. So Cancers ruled by the moon. Here are the key words associated with the moon. All right. Home, real estate, property, domestic life, roots, foundation, ancestry, childhood, conditioned responses, nurturing, sympathy, instincts, habit, change, fluctuations, sensitivity, unconscious or, old tapes, coping mechanisms, sense of belonging, safety, fertility, sleep, evening, water, baths, rain, boats, night birds, food, beverages, cooking, restaurants, chef. The moon is feminine. The mother, motherhood, the masses, common people, nurturing professions, bodily fluids, mental health, breast, stomach, and digestion. Okay, so moon rules Cancer. If you are involved with a Cancer, they are going to make sure that everything is good on the home front. They are going to be very responsible in that way. But Cancer, the two words for Cancer is I feel. So Cancers can be very emotional, and that's what you should be aware of when you are dealing with a Cancer, okay? All right, and so the next sign is Leo. Now this is a fixed fire sign, okay? Leo the lion. Leo is ruled by the sun, okay? So a Leo is supposed to shine, okay? And if a Leo is not doing what they're supposed to do, which is being a leader, they are supposed to be shining. If they are not doing what they are supposed to do, then they can, it could be a really low end for Leos. They can be massive attention seekers. Um, so keywords associated with the sun, and I won't go through all of them. I'll cut it down some, but it's the self, it's individuality, it's the ego. Okay, so like if a Leo doesn't get the attention that they need as a child, that is going to transfer over into adulthood, and that ego is going to rule, and it can bring out a really attention seeking, uh obnoxious personality in a Leo. So sun is all about willpower, energy, vitality, the physical body, ambition. Leo the lion, very, very ambitious, great, could be great leaders, okay? They're proud people. They're initiators. They're lively, right? They're individuals, all right? So the sun is a focus of growth. It's also, it's confidence, arrogance, all right? It's like Leos can be very, very arrogant, and or they can be very, very confident. So on the high end of Leo, you've got confidence, and on the low end of Leo, you've got arrogance, all right? Under the sun is life purpose, goals, visibility. You remember what I said about shining? Leos are supposed to shine. Ability to influence and inspire, that's where your leadership comes in. And you've got creativity, dignity, popularity, stamina. And under the sun, it's gold coins, palaces, celebrities, VIPs, chief executives, authority, leaders, men in general. The first son, one's husband, the heart, arteries, spinal column, the retina, and just basically eyes in general. Okay. So I'll move on to Virgo, the Virgin. Virgo, just to give you a reminder, is a mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury. So if you know a Virgo, you are going to want to pay attention here. Let me find my keywords for Mercury. There we are. Okay, Mercury. Communication, talking, writing, thinking, process, reasoning, concrete thought. I went over all of these just a bit ago because Mercury also rules Gemini. So I went through Mercury a bit ago when I talked about Gemini. So now we're on to Virgo, the Virgin. All right. So Virgo, they analyze. It's about the mind, it's about work. Like Virgos, they don't want to be in charge. They want to be out there doing, but they don't want to be in charge. Like Virgos make great administrative assistants, okay? Like if you want somebody to analyze a spreadsheet, give it to a Virgo, okay? Now, Virgos, and I have known one Virgo to, quite well, and everything I just said about Virgo the worker is absolutely applicable to this person. Immaculate performance in their professional life. Cold and hot with a Virgo is an understatement. Like just hot, 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 and then bam, it's cold. It's just like it hits out of nowhere. And that's something you need to be aware of about Virgos. And they want to be out there, really doing things. They're mutable signs, so they want to be doing. They're not fixed. They don't want to be just sitting there. They want to be out. They want to be out doing things. They're practical people, high endurance. They're very responsible. You can count on a Virgo. Sometimes traditional in their thinking. They prefer tradition. So I'll stop there with Virgo and move on to Libra. Now, if you remember what I said earlier, Libra is the only sign in the zodiac that isn't represented by an animal. It's the scales. I balance. All right, those are the two words for Libra. I balance. Libra, just to give you a reminder, cardinal air sign ruled by Venus. Okay. So I already went over all of the keywords for Venus when I was talking about Taurus. So Venus also rules Libra. Now Libra is cardinal air. They're social. They need people. A Libra might get freaked out by the thought of living alone. Okay. Libras really, really need people. They are known for artistic ability. They're usually not cookie cutter. There's a lot of originality there and a lot of mental processing, a lot of friends, partners. Again, very, very social sign. They need people, and communication falls in there as well. Now, the thing with Libra is with the balance, like they can be very compassionate and want to serve others, but then and they can be kind of sometimes selfless, but then there's like this teeter totter. It's like this they have a hard time with that balance because they can slip over into being really, really, really selfish, like just really not giving a shit. And that's something to be aware of about Libra. So now we're going to move into Scorpio. I'm going to say Scorpio's the most dangerous sign of the zodiac. You need to be careful with freaking Scorpio. I'm not joking. Again, it's a fixed water sign ruled by Pluto. Pluto is very, very slow. Pluto is fascinating to study, but Pluto is about transformation, regeneration, death, endings of all kinds. And if you think about it, when something dies or something ends, then there is a new beginning, there is a transformation. All right. So Pluto serves a great purpose, but it's slow and it's intense. Um, some keywords are power management, struggles with that, a sense of mission, deep psychological complexes, rehabilitation, destruction, force, coercion, obsession, compulsion, the inner planes, pornography, the underworld, archaeology, atomic energy. Pluto's also associated with poisonous animals. Now, Scorpio is the only sign in the zodiac that has three icons: the scorpion, the phoenix, and the eagle. Okay? Uh, Scorpion's like evil. Like, you know, hey, I'll sting. Like, if you do me over, I will freaking get you back, and I will do it with a vengeance. Know that about Scorpio. I talk about a Scorpio in Thought Snob, but the Scorpio is referred to as the redneck in that book, okay? Um, Pluto also associated with ambulance, undertaker, assassinations, earthquakes, volcanoes, great catastrophes, wars, psychologists, crisis managers, demons, detectives, spies, researchers, gangsters, pirates, reproductive organs, the bladder, and the anus, okay? Watch out for those Scorpios. Now, I know some really nice Scorpios, but if you get an unhealed Scorpio that is on the lower end, Scorpio that has not evolved, be very, very careful with that person, okay? All right, so we've got just a few more to go. We've got Sagittarius. I love Sagittarius people. That's the Archer ruled by Jupiter, November 21st through December 21st, and that's a mutable fire sign. So Sagittarius, they need change, and they really like to travel. They are energetic people. They like to play, they're leaders, they initiate. They have a lot of pride, and they're lively and um, expansive, and, it's about action. And um, they need to be in a job where they can move around. And if a Sagittarius is in a job where, they're just stationary and they're immobile and they can't move around and they're not traveling, then they can get very depressed when they're not moving. And they're ruled by Jupiter. And I want to point something out here. Jupiter is about expansion, okay? And a lot of great qualities are associated with Jupiter, but it is about expansion. It's about growth, excess, higher education, abstract thought, philosophy, spirituality, religion, church, extremes, carelessness, wisdom, affluence, wealth, generosity, faith, optimism, abundance, extravagance, foresight, future focus, justice, overindulgence, laziness, luck, standards, ethics, principles, books, publishing, furniture, foreign travel, long journeys, travel agents, lawyers, law, counselors, colleges, teachers, scholars, preachers, philosophers, obesity, hips, both hips, adrenal glands, and liver. Now, I want to point something out here. If you go back to what I said about the first house, the house of self, that represents your physical body. If Jupiter is in your first house, you might have weight issues because it's about expansion. And when Jupiter rules a sign, like rules Sagittarius, Sagittarius people can be very generous, but then it can be too much. They can be too generous, okay? So I just kind of want you to see how that works, all right? And then you got Capricorn. Capricorn, that's me, the goat. It's a cardinal earth sign ruled by Saturn. Saturn is all about boundaries, hard work, responsibility. That goat gets to the top of that freaking mountain no matter what. A keyword associated with Capricorn is boss. That's been my nickname for years. They take charge. They don't take orders well at all. Capricorns will work very well with other people, but not for. They don't want to work for other people. They are strong. Capricorns are at the top, at the top of that heap. So they're ruled by Saturn. Saturn is associated with contraction and restriction. Okay, hard work, responsibility, duty, life's lessons, discipline, self control, organization, planning, ambition, materialism, concentration, focus, structure, concrete, solid, rigid, stiff, severe, caution, reserve, fear, self doubt, terror, tradition, strength or weakness, problem solving, commitment, pessimism, detachment, foundations, time, business, older people, authority, manager, the father, fatherhood, constipation, bones, teeth, joints, arthritis, knees, skin, and back. Okay, so Saturn is associated with a lot of the hard stuff, the bones, the teeth. All right, because it's about structure. It's about being grounded. It's about boundaries. Capricorns are 9 times out of 10, very successful, responsible. They're another sign that can go cold and hot. You gotta watch it with Capricorns too, because all of those great qualities. They are very generous and loyal. But if you cross them, they're not going to like seek revenge like the Scorpio. They're just gonna flat cut your ass off, and that's where that cold and hot comes in, and you're just kind of left standing there going, "What happened? Oh well, I guess I screwed them over or whatever." So that's something you need to know about Capricorns. So we've got two more to go, and then we'll wrap up. The Aquarius, the water bear. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Okay, Uranus is all about sudden events, sudden change, unexpected, freedom seeker, independence, uniqueness, higher intellect, enlightenment, humanitarian, genius, creator, awakening, illuminating, nonconformity, rebellion, revolution, upheaval, shatters the status quo, instability, new ideas, surprises, divorce, accidents, suicide, television, radio, homosexuality, wild animals, electricity, lightning, air, airplanes, astrology, social activists, new age personnel, um, scientists, technology, nervous disorders, and ankles. Okay, so Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Aquarius is a fixed air sign. So Aquarius, um, they'll put together a plan. They'll get a plan, and then they will just detach and stand back. All right, and they can be so aloof that they aren't present. Like an Aquarius person might walk down the street and know everybody in their town, but nobody knows them. That is what you need to know about Aquarians. Okay. Um, so I will, let's see, move on to our last sign of the zodiac, and that is Pisces. Pisces is mutable water, and Pisces is ruled by Neptune. And I already talked about Pisces a little bit. Pisces are spiritualists. They're dreamers. They can live in a dream world, or they can see the world around them just the way they want to see it, really. And sometimes that works to their benefit, and sometimes it doesn't, and I already talked a little bit about that earlier. So Pisces, the way you can really get to know any of the signs is to look at the keywords associated with the planet. And so keywords associated with Neptune are vision, imagination, spirituality, idealism, creativity, empathy, compassion, intuition, psychic receiver, vulnerability, gullible, receptibility, scattered energies, forgetful, absent-minded, isolation, confinement, escapism. That's associated with drugs, alcohol, those escape reality. It's also associated, Neptune with deceit, confusion, illusion, delusion, the subconscious. Mysteries, disguises, chemistry, like I just said, addictions, drugs, alcohol, water, the sea, dreams, fantasy, myth, photography, shamans, gurus, retreats, prisons, victims, healers, hospitals, angels, magicians, mediums, the pineal gland, tissues of the body, feet, and walking problems. So this is all very basic, but it gives you a foundation to work with if you're curious about this, and a lot to dig into. So that's where I'm at, 3 weeks into astrology school, and already I feel like I've been handed a new lens to look at life through. And when you start to see astrology not as superstition or psychic reading, but as a symbolic language of the universe, everything changes. It's like a mirror. It's a map. It's actually a mathematical equation, but I'll get into that later. No way I was going to explain all that today. This has already probably been a lot, probably too much. But for now, take this episode as a reminder that life isn't random. You're not random. You're here on purpose with a purpose. And astrology is one of the best tools I found so far to help uncover what that purpose really is.
The Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought Snob Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope.